In the last video, we went over Trunks finally defeating the androids. But when one threat is gone, another one arrives. Dr. Gero's bio creation, Cell, has finally arrived and made his move. So, what do you think will happen? Find out in this part 2 of What If Trunks Never Time Traveled. Trunks has decided to investigate this. It doesn't make sense. Gohan's been dead for a while. That can't be his energy. Trunks is able to recollect himself and realize that this isn't what it seems. This is a threat, especially with all these different keys mixed in together. Luckily, Trunks is fast enough to get there before whoever this is escapes. Once he arrives, he sees some green creature in front of him. What is this thing? Is it some kind of alien? No, that doesn't make any sense. Why would it have Gohan's key? In fact, why would it have all these different kinds of key mixed in within it? Cell didn't want to get spotted this early, but it doesn't seem like he has much of a choice. But he is the only person he has to fight anyways, the only big obstacle that's left on Earth. So if he kills him, he'll be free to absorb Androids 17 and 18 with no problem, and be able to achieve his perfect form. He really has no objective besides that since Goku is dead. Cell does end up revealing who he is and what he's after, the androids. Trunks then smiles and tells Cell that he won't be able to get the androids, cause he killed them, and Cell can't believe it. That's why he was struggling so hard to find the androids, is because they're dead. And since they're dead, it's impossible for him to become perfect. But after he kills them, he'll find another way to become perfect, even without the androids. So, Trunks gets ready to fight him. At first, Trunks was curious. He thought he came from a different planet. But now that he knows he was created from Dr. Gero, that gives him a good enough excuse to kill him. And Trunks knows he's more than strong enough to handle Cell. He's been training way more intensely now that Bulma's been working on the sensu beams, or at least her version of it. She's been improving it more and more. And also, Cell isn't too strong. He didn't have that many people to absorb, thanks to the android's destruction for over the years. So Cell is having a tough time facing against Trunks. And he notices that Cell can use lots of other techniques. And also the regeneration. He heard stories that Piccolo could regenerate, and that Cell has the DNA of warriors, so that must be Piccolo's cells. Trunks is hoping that this fight will be able to help him push to the new level he's been working on. Cause this fight does kinda anger him. Seeing another android created by Dr. Gero here, after dealing with the last ones for so long, Trunks gets memories of feeling so useless against the androids back then, up to the point where he even saw Gohan die, his master, his best friend. And even after he defeated the androids, he still feels that burden. And now, after seeing Cell, that burden, it turned into rage. And for a brief moment, Trunks powers up. His aura intensifies as lightning surrounds him and his hair spiked up even more than before. Even though it was for a moment, Trunks transformed into Super Saiyan 2. And with this power boost, Trunks launches Cell into the air, and then finishes it off with the Masenko, destroying Cell. Well, at least seemingly to him. Most of him was destroyed, except for a small nucleus, which was enough to let Cell regenerate. But after he regenerates, Cell looks different. It seems like he evolved somehow. Is this his perfect form? Did he evolve into it? It seems that near-death experience mixed with his Saiyan cells, it gave him the power to evolve into his perfect form. I'm pretty much using the same concept of when Cell came back in the original story, of how after he self-destructed in his semi-perfect form and came back in his perfect form with even bigger boost of power. I'm using that same concept here. But honestly, he's not going to be that strong. In fact, he barely has power at all. It used most of his strength just to regenerate. In fact, he doesn't even know how he's even alive with that close of a call. And even though he's evolved, he can't even fight right now. And he's just not saying that because he's low on energy right now. Even if he was at full power, he still doesn't think he could win. But this makes Cell wonder, what was that burst of energy that Trunks was doing? That wasn't like any old Super Saiyan. Did he find a new level of it? A level beyond a regular Super Saiyan? Cell gets intrigued by this, and he'll think about this as he gathers his strength back. Then some time has passed. We cut to Earth, and the rebuilding progress has been going good. And after Capsule Corp was rebuilt, Bulma lets Trunks get a job there, so he can try to at least readjust to society. And during this time, Yajirobe asks Trunks to take him back to Korin's tower. Since the androids are dead, he doesn't have to keep hiding, so he wants to go back. So Trunks decides to fly him over there, while Yajirobe gives him directions. And when they get there, they see that Korin's tower is a complete wreck. But they find something interesting. They find bits and pieces of whatever remains of the sensu plant. If they give this to Bulma, she might be able to fully bring back the sensu beams. Yajirobe says at least Korin left something behind before he died. As Trunks is about to leave, he remembered that Yajirobe told him something on his way here, about Kami's lookout being above the tower. Trunks then flies up, and he sees it. He sees the lookout. It is partially destroyed. It seems like the androids had gotten here too. On the surface, it seems like no one's there, but then someone walks out, sensing that he's an ally, not an enemy. It's Mr. Popo. It was never confirmed if Mr. Popo was dead or alive in the future scenario if he survived against the androids, so in this scenario, we're just gonna say he's alive. Of course, Mr. Popo doesn't know who Trunks is, but he can tell he has no bad intentions. So he introduces himself, and telling everything of what happened here, of how the androids came up here and started destroying the place, and how he went into hiding, and after the androids couldn't find him, they just got bored and left. And Trunks says he doesn't have to worry no more, as the androids are gone, and Mr. Popo's glad to hear this. At least Earth has some sort of protection ever since everyone else has died. But now that the androids are gone, he can start rebuilding this sacred place. And he even tells Trunks about the room of spirit and time. Trunks sees this and thinks that this would have been very useful against the androids, but it could be helpful in the future. After that, Trunks heads back to Bulma and gives her everything that he found at Koron's tower, everything about the sensu bean, and with some time and effort, she was able to make her own artificial sensu bean that pretty much worked like the original. Trunks knows that there's peace now, but there could also be a threat coming later, and these will come very handy, and it will really benefit his training. Speaking of which, that reminds Bulma. She then gives Trunks a capsule. She says she saw how much he's been training recently and thought that this will help him get a lot more stronger. It did take her a while to make it, as with the limited resources she had, but she was able to do it. She heard that Goku on his way to Namek did this kind of training, and he got a lot stronger from it, so she made one for him too. She made him a gravity room. Trunks thanks her for this, but then he feels something coming to Earth. A huge power. It feels familiar to him. It can't be. He thought he killed him. It's Cell, and he's coming to Earth. Trunks then flies towards him, and not too long, he does find Cell. He instantly transforms into Super Saiyan 2 and launches towards Cell, trying to attack him. Cell is barely able to dodge, being grazed by his attack. But Cell doesn't fight back. He tells Trunks to stop, trying to calm him down. But Trunks doesn't listen and launches in for another attack. Cell is barely able to guard against this attack. He feels the pain going through his entire body. Trunks sees that Cell has gotten way stronger than he was before, but he's still not stronger than him. Trunks decides to finish this, for real this time. So he starts to charge up a blast, getting ready to end Cell. But Cell tells him to stop again, as he's not here for a fight. If he was really after to kill him, he would have blew up Earth by now, without him even noticing. In fact, he had more than enough time now to do it. Or in fact, he could have done it from space. Doesn't that mean anything? He isn't here to kill him or destroy Earth, so give him a chance to explain himself. So Trunks then stops and asks Cell, how is he alive and why is he here? And what's with this new look? He didn't look like that before. And Cell explains everything. Thanks to Piccolo's cells, the smallest piece of him was able to regenerate. And thanks to his Saiyan cells, he was able to evolve, going into his perfect form, or at least what he thinks. But all that regeneration took a lot of energy. So he spent his time out in space, recovering. But also, he had time to think. Yeah, he was made to kill Goku and all his friends, even Trunks. But he was also made to become the perfect warrior. And that made him think, how can he become the perfect warrior if there's no one left? Which made him come to realize, all he wants is someone to give him a good fight. Someone strong enough to push him to his limits, and someone to help him grow even stronger. Which made Cell come to realize that Trunks is that perfect kind of person. And not only because he's the strongest fighter left on Earth, but that power he showed before when they first fought shows the potential that he has. He thinks that Trunks will be able to become his perfect rival, and that's the reason why he's here. Just to fight the strongest people in the universe. And that's his only goal, have a good fight and get stronger. And also to add the fact on top of that, he doesn't even want to follow Dr. Gero's orders. He's his own kind of person. He shouldn't be following orders. Now, does this mean that Cell is a good person? He could try to kill Trunks and try to destroy the Earth, but if he does that, he'll just be bored right after. What's the point of doing all that? He's just going to end up being bored, as opposed to keep fighting Trunks as much as he wants and both of them getting stronger while doing it. That sounds way more fun to him than just killing and destroying everything. And Cell is doing this out of his own selfish needs, just to grow stronger and test out his power. Trunks then asks Cell, why should he trust a creation of Dr. Gero, especially after the last encounter? Like he said, he could have destroyed Earth without him noticing, which would kill him in the process, but he didn't. He may not be a good person, but the one thing he doesn't do is lie, especially about something like this. So Cell tells him to get stronger, as he'll pop in from time to time, waiting for a fight. And he'll grow stronger as well. Cell then flies up to the atmosphere, smiling, saying that he looks forward to their next encounter. As Cell goes into space, Trunks is wondering to himself, why didn't he kill Cell? He should have. He's one of Dr. Gero's creations. He was designed for evil, but he sensed something different about Cell. It seemed like he was actually speaking the truth, and the part where he could have destroyed Earth, that's also true. Maybe Cell really wasn't lying. But Trunks assures to himself that the next time Cell comes here, it won't be a problem. He'll give him what he wants, a rival that can satisfy him. which is where we'll leave off this part. What did you guys think of this video, and what do you think will happen next? If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel. It supports me and it supports the channel. Anyways, I'm DBZ Anarchy, and I'll see you guys in the next video.